All right, fam. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Australia and my flight home got canceled. And I kind of had two choices. I could sit in the airport lounge and be super annoyed about it, or I could do something with that time. So I sat down, I pulled together an offer, I wrote an email to my list, I posted it on socials one time. And by the end of that day, I had collected $47,000 from one email, one social post, and one day. Now, this wasn't the first time. Back in July, I was coming home from Chicago and it was the same kind of situation. I had a small window of time. I pulled together a different version of the same playbook, and that day it was $39,000. So today, after getting lots of questions about this, I want to walk you through exactly what I did, because it really isn't a magic trick. It's honestly just a formula. And it's something that any service-based business owner can do when you understand a concept called offer wrapping. Now, before we dig in, if you like the way that I think about business and marketing, I send out something every single day called Daily CEO Thoughts. It's super short, actionable, straight to your inbox. No fluff, no bullshit, because that's not how I am. The link is in the description. Just jump on down below, get on that list, and let's get into this. All right, so let me ask you a question. When you go to sell, what do you talk about? I'm going to take a guess that you're only talking about your main thing, like your program, your package, your core offer, whatever that might be. And you probably talk about it the same way every time to your entire audience. Now, you're probably here because some of those people buy, but most of them don't, right? And so you probably have thought to yourself, and I know I've had this thought too, that maybe I need to change my messaging, or maybe my offer wasn't good enough, or maybe I need to add more value to it. Holy crap, am I guilty of that? And I know you are too. But that's not what the problem is. The offer is fine. Like, your offer is generally not the problem. The problem is that you're talking about one thing to an audience full of people who want different things from you. Because not everyone sitting in your audience right now wants your full program, but a lot of them do want your help, right? They want to work with you. They're paying attention. They're just waiting for something that feels like the right fit for where they are right now. And so if all you ever do is push your main offer, you're only ever going to be talking to one slice of your audience. Everyone else just keeps on scrolling because they're not interested in that right now at this time. So let me show you what's actually sitting in your audience right now. And it looks a little bit like this, okay? Now, at the beginning, we have our lurkers. These are the people who are watching your stuff, but they're definitely not ready to do anything yet. They might never be, and that's completely fine. To a certain extent, we need these people in our audience. The next people you have are the maybes. These are the toughest ones. These are the people who are interested, they're paying attention, but they definitely haven't figured out what they need from you yet. They just know that something needs to change. All right, we've got our piece buyers. These are people who don't want your whole program. It means that they probably have one specific problem that they want solved, like one bottleneck or one thing that's keeping them stuck. And if you could just help them with that, they would happily pay you for that today. Now, you have your buyers. These are important, right? These are the people that want access to you. They want your brain. They want to sit across from you and have you have a look at their business and tell them what to do or whatever it is that you do. But they don't want a course or a group or whatever your main format is. They just want you. And then you have your all-in buyers. Now, obviously, these are the ones that we want. These are the people who are ready for your full program, all the meat and potatoes. They want the whole thing. But if all you ever do is talk about your main offer, you're only ever talking to that last group. And everyone else is sitting there going, well, that's not what I need right now. And they completely tune out. And it's not because they don't want your help, right? It's just because you're not giving them a door that they actually want to walk through. So what do you do about it? Well, you wrap your offer. And so let's talk about that. Offer wrapping just means that you take your core offer and we're going to pull it apart in different ways. It means that you can pull out a piece of it or you can put a different bow on it and you present it to your audience in a way that speaks to each of those different types of buyers. So it's still you, it's still your expertise. You're just giving people a different way to buy from you. Now, here's the kicker, because this is the part where some people get this wrong. You are not creating some whole new thing from scratch. Please do not do that. All right. You're literally taking what you already have and you're asking yourself, what is one piece of this that I could pull out and offer on its own? Okay. So maybe it's like a 90-minute intensive where you solve one specific problem. Maybe it's like a VIP day where they sit with you for an entire day. Maybe it's like an audit. I don't know. These are all just things I'm shooting from the hip. Maybe it's like an audit where you look at their business and you hand them a roadmap. Or maybe it's like a workshop, okay, where you teach a very specific topic that is taught inside of your program anyways. So all of these things are the same stuff, but we're just going to wrap them a little bit differently, okay? Now, let me pause here for a minute. If you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I get it, but I don't know what I would pull out of my business to wrap like this, then what I want you to do is go find me on Instagram at Taryn Dubreuil, hit my inbox, type 99. All right. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your business, and then I'm going to help you figure out what your first wrapped offer could look like. Okay. So just go to Instagram, Taryn Dubreuil, hit my inbox with 99. Okay. And so we want to do two things when we do this. We want scarcity and we want urgency. These things are really important. Really, really important. Now, this is stuff like, I'm opening up 10 spots this week. And I mean actual scarcity, okay? You are genuinely only doing this for a very small, limited amount of time. And then you're going to go back to your regular thing, because that is what makes this work. I am so strong on that. That's what makes this work, okay? So let me tell you exactly what happened in Australia, all right? My flights get canceled. And now I have this block of time that I really wasn't expecting. And I kind of like games. I don't want to waste my time. I like to play little games and challenge myself. And so this was the challenge that I gave myself. If I was going to get stuck here, I wanted to create some cash, and I wanted to create a boatload of cash. Now, I know that there are people in my audience who want to work with me, but my group program isn't what they're looking for right now. And that's cool. 100%. That's cool. But they do want me to look at their business and help them solve one problem. So I sat down, and the way that I pulled apart my program and wrapped it differently was like this. I put together a one-on-one intensive. Really, I called it a game plan session. It was 90 minutes with me. It was one-on-one, and I would pick apart their bottleneck. We would work through it together. I would give them the tools, the frameworks, the plan, everything that they needed to make it happen. And often, all of that stuff was part of my paid program anyways, okay? I put a label on it, 16 spots only, and that's it. Now, the kicker to this, and kind of the detail in the magic of the language, is that I don't do one-on-ones. One-on-one is not a part of my program. It's not a part of my offer. Actually, I'm very anti-one-on-one because it doesn't fit my perfect day plan, and that's cool. They work 1,000%. So that almost was a whole new bow on what I was doing. The things that we were going to cover was stuff that we already taught inside of the program. Now, when I had the offer done, the first thing I did was write an email to my list. If you've been around here for a while, you know that email marketing is my thing. So I took 2 lines of action. I wrote an email to my list and I posted it on my socials once. I attached a real deadline, meaning you have until the end of this day when my flight takes off to book these calls in with me. You can book them for the next 2 weeks, but you only have until the end of today when I board my flight to book that call in with me. That's a pretty good story already. Like, I could end it there and that would be great, but it got way better than I expected. All right. And here's how it got better. I'm going to draw this out because I think this is really important. So I wrapped my offer. And then I did 3 very specific things. Okay. Let me draw 3 arrows here. The first thing I told everyone who booked was, I'm going to use these calls as content, okay? They're going to become YouTube videos and they're going to become ads. Now, if you don't want to be recorded, you could pay a little bit more and we'll keep those calls private. So the very first step was they became content. Some people took that private option, which I thought was great because it meant more cash for me and we still got the same outcome. But the ones who were happy to be recorded, I got some YouTube content out of it, and we got social proof coming out of it because it was something that we were going to do anyways. And the best part is now I was getting paid for something that I was going to do anyways, right? So that was kind of fun. The second part that happened was that's when the conversations started happening, right? People who booked the one-on-one to solve a bigger problem started talking to me about the bigger picture, about where their business was actually stuck, about what they actually wanted. And that was all they really needed, was a conversation to be opened. And so some of these people, before they'd even had their call with me, they committed to my main program. They just needed a reason to start a conversation with me. And that wrapped offer gave them that. And so once we started talking, they realized on their own that they actually wanted the whole thing. And they ended up joining my CEO Clubhouse program, which I thought was freaking fantastic, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to happen anyways. And that's what those people truly need. Like, let's call a spade a spade. An hour call is not going to change your business, but the whole thing will. And if you just need that hour to understand that, then that's cool. I'll give you that hour. All right. So the last part of this is that the other people who did the one-on-one, so they actually came in and they sat in the meeting with me, they got immense value from it. And then they decided to join into the CEO Clubhouse. So there was cash that happened on the back end afterwards, after they had already experienced what it was like to work with me. So the end result was $47,000 from one wrapped offer on a day that my flight was canceled. And I had done the exact same playbook in July when I was coming back from Chicago. The only thing that was different was how I put that offer together. It was the same formula. And that day I made $39,000. So here's what I need you to understand. You have people sitting in your audience right now who want to give you money, but they're just waiting for something that feels right for where they are right now. And you keep putting the same thing in front of them and it's just not matching up. So here's the thing, that's on you, all right? It's your responsibility to meet them where they are. You have to figure out what they actually need right now and put that in front of them, because you already have the audience. Like, we know that. You already have the expertise. You are freaking good at what you do, but you just need to wrap what you've got in a way that gives these people a door that they actually want to walk through. Okay. Now, before I wrap this up, if you're new around here and this is the first video you're watching, awesome. I love that you're here. But one of the most important things is that this is just a small fraction of a really much bigger plan. And that plan is down below in a 5-part mini series. You can click on the link down below and it'll take you to the first video. And I want you to watch all 5, because that roadmap is going to take you from the $8,000 to $10,000 plateau that you're in right now. This working all the days, all the hours in your business, being stressed out, exhausted, this shitty way that you feel about your business right now. And it's going to show you the steps to consistent 30K months while only working 3 days a week. So we can build the freedom of money, time, and mental space into your business. And that's what we call our perfect day. So go click that link down below to get to that first video and watch all 5 in the mini series. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.